So bro. That's like, hey, take that graph paper. Who needs homework?
Yeah.
Answer is 5. Answer on this one is -3. The first to say this answer out loud. Answer to this one is 3. Here's the warm-up. What you have to do with this is move this to the right side and change the sign. It becomes +1. -2 plus 1 is -1. For this problem, you have to move the +2 to the right side and change the sign, and you will have a -2 on the right. 4 minus 2 is 2, but you must divide both sides by -1 to get rid of this. So the answer is -2. For this problem, you move this to the right side and make it minus. 23 minus 1 is 22. Divide both sides by 2. These cancel out. You're left with 11. Homework check. We have 12 out of 19, which is 63%. You get to do the homework lottery if you used a pass. All right, the winning numbers are 1, 2, 5, 9, and 12. Before we get to the answers, here's a multiple choice. What is the y-intercept? I need a block letter only. For this problem, to find the y-intercept, yesterday I showed you how to change it to the slope-intercept form and just pick out the number at the end like we've always done. Here's another way that you can do it from the form that it's in. If you're finding the y-intercept, put a 0 in where the x is at. 3 times 0 plus 2y equals 6. 3 times 0 is 0, so it just cancels out. And you're left with 2y equals 6. What would the y-intercept be? That should be a -6. Yeah, divide -6 by 2 and come up with -3. So the answer was A. Here are the homework answers. For 1 through 5, the x-intercept and the y-intercept are a ½ point each. For number 1, you should have -5 for the y-intercept and 3 1/3 for the x-intercept. For number 2, you should have 3 for the y-intercept and 2 2/5 for the x-intercept. 3, the y-intercept is -3. The x-intercept is 1. Number 4, the y-intercept is -2. And the x-intercept is -8. On number 5, the y-intercept is -3. The x-intercept is 9. For your graphs, they are 1 point each. Your equation for this one should be y equals 50x plus 60. The scale that you use can vary. It doesn't mean you're wrong if you don't have what I have. But what I did is every third mark I made that 1 month on the bottom scale. Going up the left-hand side on the y-axis, I went up by 10s. There's my line. Your line could go like this or even a little steeper like that, depending on the scale that you chose. I'll know when you take a test if you're consistent in the scale that you choose, or I may even choose a scale for you, just to eliminate that possibility of having 50 different answers, all of which could be right. Number 7, y equals 45x plus 20 is the equation. Again, I went every third mark, and I did that for all of these 6 through 10 on the x-axis. But on the y scale, I chose to go up by 15 every 2 marks to spread it out a little bit. Number 8, your equation is y equals 30x plus 100. And on the y-axis this time, every 5th mark I put a 50, which means I'm going up by 10 each time. But you don't have to write every single number in there. You can go with nothing until you get to 50, and then another 5 for 100, and another 5 for 150. On number 9, y equals 80x plus 75 is the equation. I went up by 20s on this one. So every 5th one is 100. And on number 10, y equals 60x plus 125 is the equation. I went up again by 20s. Every 5th one is 100. Today's objective. We're going to work more with labels and axes as well as the x and y intercepts at the same time. Here's the first example. Find the x and y intercepts for 4x minus 2y equals 6. I'll show you the new way to do it, and you can compare it to the other way you learned yesterday. Whichever is easier is the one you can use. If I want to find the x-intercept, I want to put a 0 in for the y. If you're finding the x, put a 0 in for the y. So 4x minus 2 times 0 is 6. So what happens to minus 2 times 0? Cancels out. Yeah, you don't need it. All you need is 4x equals 6. Divide 6 by 4 and express your answer as a fraction. A mixed number if necessary. 6 over 4 reduces to 3 over 2. And 3 over 2 is 1.5. So now we have to find the y-intercept. If I'm going to find the y-intercept, I'm going to put a 0 in where? For the x. So 4 times 0 minus 2y equals 6. What happens to this? Cancels out, and I'm left with negative 2y equals 6. Divide 6 by negative 2, and your y-intercept is negative 3. Example 2. If I want to find the x-intercept first, where do I put a 0? I'm finding the x-intercept, so I put a 0 where? By the 3, yes. You plug it in for y. So you have 2x plus 3 times 0. What happens to 3 times 0? Cancels out. We're left with 2x equals 12. So 12 divided by 2 is what? 6. So 6 is your x-intercept. Any questions about how we found that? All right. So now we have to find the y-intercept. Where do I put the 0? By the 2, in for the x. So 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 12. What happens to this? Cancels out. It's gone. So we're left with 3y equals 12. And divide 12 by 3 to get 4. Always make certain you signify which one is which. To the first 6 people, the first 6. To get this answer, you have to move this to the left-hand side and change the sign. and then divide -8 by 2 to get an answer of -4. This one goes to the first 10. Alright, to get this one, you have to move this to the left-hand side, and it becomes positive. So divide 15 by 3 to get an answer of 5. Here's a practice problem. To find the x-intercept, you have to put 0 in for y. Gleam, is that what you did?
Yeah.
Alright. So we put 0 in for y, and that cancels out. So 4x equals 10. If you divide 10 by 4, you can reduce it to 5 over 2, and that comes out to be 2.5. For the y-intercept, you put a 0 in for x. That cancels out. So -2y equals 10. Divide 10 by -2 and get a 5.
I don't know where
-5, yes. There's a bonus problem. On the bonus problem, you should have this moved over to this side. So it's 2x equals a -12 plus 4. 2x equals a -8, and if you divide -8 by 2, it's so dark over there you can't even see it. I'll have to switch to this. X equals -8 over 2, the answer should be -4. Here's another bonus. You move this over to this side, it becomes minus. So 10 minus 1 is 9. And then you divide 9 by 3 to get 3. To the first 6 people. For this problem, you have to move this to the left side over here, and when you do that, it becomes positive 1/2 x. Some of these you don't even need to work out to know what the answer is, because what this is asking is 1/2 of something is -4. What do I take half of to get a -4? No, half of something is -4, so you double it to figure out what it was. -8. To the first 10 people. This one you really should work it out. If you're not proficient enough with fractions, you're really going to have to do this step by step. Move this to the left and change the sign. Becomes a -2/3 x, and that equals 6. To get the answer, you have to divide 6 by a -2/3, which is the same as multiplying 6 over 1 by a -3 over 2. 6 times a -3 is -18. Divided by 2 is a -9.
Oh my God.
Practice number 2. On the practice problem, to find the x-intercept, we insert a 0 in for y, and that's going to make the y term cancel out. You're left with 5x equals a -14. Divide -14 by 5. Change it to a mixed number. 5 into 14 twice with 4 left over. Put that over the 5. And now for the y-intercept. You put a 0 in for x. When you do that, it cancels out the x term. -2y equals -14, and divide -14 by -2 to get a +7. For this problem, you have to move this to this side and make it +1. -2 plus 1 is a -1. You have to divide both sides by -1 to get rid of this. that becomes positive 1. For this one, you have to move this to the right side and make it minus. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. To the first 6. Now we already had 6. Here's the solution to the problem. Start by moving this to the left-hand side and change it to a negative. You now have to divide negative 9 by negative 3/4. That's the same thing as multiplying negative 9 over 1 by a negative 4 over 3. So what's negative 9 times negative 4? 36. 36, and then divide by 3 to get 12. The first 10. You have to move this to the left-hand side here. And then what do I do next, Carver? You change it to a positive 1/5 x, and then you have to divide 5 by 1/5, which is the same as multiplying 5 over 1 times 5 over 1. You flip this one. 25 is the answer.
Wait, yeah.